I'll allow my hands, actually gonna sit up on my block. I just heard you that. And then use my other block to support my knee. So let's connect to our breath, allowing the hands to rest onto the knees, and then allow the chin to come down into the chest. And just sit for moments. Let's take a nice collective breath together by taking a nice deep inhale through the nostrils. And then open your mouth and sigh out the breath. Make some noise when you do it, you're at home. So let's do that again. Let's inhale through the nose. Open mouth, sigh, exhale, let it go. Very nice. Let's build onto that by taking a nice deep breath in, rolling the shoulder heads up to the ears, and then rolling the shoulder heads back and down and letting go of the breath. Very nice. Doing that again, inhaling, rolling the shoulder heads up to the ears, rolling them back and down, exhaling as you do it, emptying all the air from the lungs. One more time together, inhaling at the top of the breath. And then open mouth, side, exhale, letting it go. Very good. So let's connect, or let's start moving our breath to our movement, linking our breath. Goodness gracious, golly, I don't know what is going on with my verbiage today. My knee must really hurt. It is drawing my attention away. It's very cold still, so I'm still going to keep the door closed. I don't know, we might warm up pretty warm, so let's take a step to the top of the mat, starting in Tadasana. So the big toes are in touch, and there could be a sliver of space in the heels, or if you have a little bit of sense of lower back, then put a hip width distance apart in your feet. Push down into your big toe, push down into your pinky toe. Feel the corners of the heel. Lift the knees up and you'll feel them tighten your thigh muscles. Draw your tailbone down towards the heel. Lift the chest and the sternum up as if I were pulling a string at the top of your head. Don't allow the ribs to pop out though. Draw your frontal rib points down to meet the frontal hip points. Maybe drawing a nice core muscle in together. Picking the back of the ribs up off the waist, continuing to grow tall through the sides. Hands can come down to the next to the waist. And let's begin to flow. With an inhale, draw the arms forward and above, pinkies lead, chin stays level with the ground. Grow tall at the sides of the waist, and as you exhale, fold over your legs, Uttanasana. There can be a bend in your knees as the hands come down towards the floor and the crown of the head comes down. Shift the weight into your toes, straighten out the legs any amount, and then pull the hands up underneath the knees, Ardha Uttanasana. Draw this belly in towards the spine. Don't just let it hang like I did. And then exhale, fold back over your legs. Right foot steps back, left foot steps back. We're at the top of a push-up, plank pose. Drawing the frontal hips points up. Push down in the hands so much that you rise up through the chest. Pull the chest through the arms of the hands. Keep looking down straight at the mat. Allow both of the knees to come down towards the mat. Untuck the toes and then bend your elbows halfway for Chaturanga. As you exhale, lower down all the way down towards the mat. Untuck the toes and then push down into the tops of the feet so much the knees lift up off the floor. Push it down into your pubic bone and then slide your hands back so that your elbows draw in towards each other. With an inhale, draw your forehead, chest, and shoulder heads away from the mat. Bhunjanasana, baby cobra. As you exhale, forehead comes down towards the mat. Push up through a neutral tabletop position. Tuck your toes and then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Taking 2 to 3 breaths here in your down dog, kind of checking in with your day. Looking up at your hands, making sure that the pointer fingers are pointing straight forward. If your shoulders are a little bit tight today, turn your hands out ever so slightly so that your hands are turning out like this, but continue to draw those biceps up and those triceps down. So continue to get that external rotation all through the shoulders. While you take a peek back at your toes, making sure that the heels are displayed out so that they tuck behind your second toe. Maybe we put a deep, generous bend in the knees, lifting the hips up ever so slightly, up higher, finding that extension through the back of the spine. When you're ready, heels come back down towards the mat. They don't have to touch. Look up at the hands. Let's step the right foot up to the right thumb. Left foot steps up to the left, and then come up halfway for Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, fold back over your legs. Inhale rises you back up into the sky. So root down into your feet to rise up. As you exhale, hands come down into the chest, Samastitihi. Let's do that again. As we inhale, the arms can float forward and above. And then exhale, fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Shifting the weight forward, coming up halfway with a long spine for Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, step the left foot back, then the right foot back, top of a push-up. Shift the weight forward into the toes. Bend your elbows halfway to the distance of your shoulders. Flip over the tops of the feet, keep the hips lifted, and then take your sternum and lift it up through the arms. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. As you exhale, pull your hips up and back into the Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Taking 2 to 3 breaths here in down dog. So we just did that Surya Namaskar A in 2 different variations. The first one was with our knees down. The second one was traditional. Let's take a look up at our hands. Left foot steps up to the left hand. Right foot steps up. Come up halfway with a long spine for Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, roots down into the floor to rise up into the sky. As you exhale, hands come into the chest, Samastitihi. So let's do that Surya Namaskar A one more time. Inhale, arms float forward and above, Utthita Hastasana and Tadasana. As you exhale, hinge over your thighs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rises you up halfway, pulling the shoulder heads away from the ears, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, float, step or jump back, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Micro bend in the elbows as you pull the shoulder heads away. Exhale, pulls the hips up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. When you're ready, put a deep bend in the knees. Maybe you hop up to your hands this time. With the inhale, rise up halfway with a long spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folds you back over the legs. Inhale, rises you up into the sky, Utthita Hastasana and Tadasana. Keep drawing the tailbone down, but pick the back of the ribs up off the waist. As you exhale, hands come into the chest, Samastitihi. Let's build on to that. So let's do Surya Namaskar B. As you inhale, arms float up and above next to the ears, and then exhale, sink the hips and into the heels. So sink the weight of your hips. Bend down as if you were going to pull a chair to sit or like behind you. Take a peek down at your feet. Make sure you can see your toes. Maybe wiggle them. Shift the weight ever so slightly more into your heels. And then keep the bend of the knees. Exhale, fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rises you up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. We're going to hop, step, or jump back, moving it through your vinyasa or meeting us in downward facing dog. It's your choice. When you're ready, let's look up at the hands. The right foot is going to step up to the right thumb. Left heel anchors at a 45-degree angle. Making sure you're not on a tightrope, walk your right foot over a heel and a toe. Putting that left hand onto the, put the right hand onto the right hip. Draw your right hip back. And then inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. As you root down into your right heel that's stacking directly above the knee, there should be a small rotation of the torso and the body towards that left thigh. Keep bending into that left thigh. Maybe you look up at the hands as they seal at the top of your head. One exhale rides you all the way down towards the mat through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale rises you up into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. As you exhale, pulling your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Looking up at the hands, preparing for Virabhadrasana 1 on the left side. So left foot steps up to the left thumb. Right heel anchors at a 45. Draw that left hip back before you rise up into the Vira 1. When you're ready to come up, maybe the palms seal at the top of your head. As you exhale, hands come down towards the mat, stepping the left foot back, Chaturanga, moving it through your Vinyasa. Taking 2 to 3 breaths here in down dog. Checking in with your energy level today on the mat. Let's put a deep bend in the knees. Look up at the hands. Left foot steps up, right foot steps up. Come up halfway with a long spine. Exhale, fold back over the legs. Sink the hips back into the heels. Rise up, Utkatasana chair pose. As you exhale, hands come into the chest, Samasthiti. Very good. Let's do it again. As we inhale, hands come up and above. Exhale, sinks the hips into the heels. Folding over the legs, straightening them out any amount. Inhale rises you up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold over the legs, hop, step, or jump back into your Vinyasa. Meeting us in down dog. Without skipping a beat from down dog, step the right foot up to the right thumb, anchor that left heel at a 45, and then come up into your Vira 1 with the inhale. As you exhale, hands come down towards the mat, step it back, moving it through your Vinyasa. Without pausing for a moment, let's go ahead and step that left foot up to the left thumb. Right heel anchors at a 45. Rising up on the left side through Virabhadrasana 1 with the inhale. Exhaling, rising, lowering down into the mat. Moving it through a Vinyasa, meeting us in downward facing dog. Taking 2 to 3 breaths here in your down dog. If your mind begins to wander, just recognize, honor your thoughts and memories, and then bring it back to your breath. Take a nice deep breath in. Come onto the tippy toes, deep bend in the knees, look up at your hands, hop, step, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale rises you up for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale folds you back over your legs. Sinking the hips into the heels, rise up for Utkatasana chair. Draw that belly in towards the spine and then draw your tailbone down towards the mat. As you exhale, hands come into the chest, standing up, Samasthiti. Very good, you guys. Let's do it one last time. As you inhale, Utkatasana chair. Exhale, fold over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rises you up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hop, step, or jump back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1 on the right side. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1 on the left side. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. 2 to 3 breaths on your own. Continuing to check in with your body, with your energy. When you're ready, step up to the top of your mat. Ardha Uttanasana for an inhale. Exhale, fold back over the legs, sinking the hips into the heels, rising up, Virabhadrasana 1. Utkatasana chair. Woo! Hands come into the chest, Hamasiti. I have no idea where my mind goes that second. So let's continue to flow. The front door's gonna have to open now. It's very warm. I thought we were gonna warm up pretty quickly here. Taking a sip of water if you have it, toweling off if you need to. But let's bring our hands out to a T so that the palms are facing up. Let's grow tall to the sides of the waist as we rise our hands up and above our head. Touch the palms at the top of the head. Look up at the thumbs for baby back bend. Exhale, fold over your hinged thighs. Inhale, rises you up for Ardha Uttanasana. Keep shifting the weight into your toes and using your hand on the floor as traction to not tip over. As you exhale, step, hop, or jump back into your vinyasa, or just pulling your hips up and back and meeting us in downward facing dog. In my personal practice, if you see me, like when I practice with my teacher, I skip a lot, majority of the Chattanangas. Okay, so let's step our right foot up to our right thumb. Anchor the left heel at a 45. Rise up into our Virabhadrasana 1. And then heel toe the right foot over to the left. Open your hands up into a wide T. Pull your torso off of your front thigh, stacking your shoulders above your hips and settling into your Virabhadrasana 2. As you peek over to your middle finger on the right side, take a peek down at the knee, making sure it's tracking over the ankle, and then you can see your second toe. If you can't see your second toe, keep pushing your right knee towards that pinky toe. Take a peek back at your left heel and make sure it's dropped all the way back at a 45, and you have that seal down on the foot. Draw up through the inner arch of your left foot. Continue to breathe here in your Vira 2. When you're ready, allow the right forearm to come onto the right thigh. Lift the left hand up into the sky. If we're looking for a deeper stretch today, allow that right hand to come in towards the right ankle. Draw that right hip back underneath you. It has a tendency to want to pop out. Continue to draw the belly and the chest up towards the sky. And then instead of collapsing in, pull the forehead away from the midline. Feeling how the knee is pushing in towards your shoulder. Resist it by pushing your shoulder away towards your knee. One more breath on your own. And then let's rise back up into our Virabhadrasana 2, just passing through. And then cartwheel the hands down. How quietly can we step the right foot back and move it through a vinyasa? Looking up at the hands. Let's step that left foot up to the left hand. Rising up through our Virabhadrasana 1, knowing that we're just passing through it. Heel toeing the left foot over, coming into our Vira 2. Knowing that you settled in, sinking in just a little bit deeper, maybe closing your eyes and breathing. Your mind begins to wander towards what's coming next. I'm hungry, I gotta cook dinner. Honor your thoughts, but recognize it's moved away from your breath, and then come back to your breath. When you're ready, let's set up for our Utthita Parsva Konasana, allowing either the hand to come down towards the mat. Maybe you have a block. I like a block on this side. the right hand is reaching up so much that we're not collapsing into that left forearm or that left hand. Continue to find the extension across the chest, sides of the waist. Rising up through our Virabhadrasana 2, cartwheeling the hands down, moving it through your vinyasa, or just pulling your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice is always there. It's always just an offering. When you're ready, hop, step, or jump up to the top of the mat. Come up halfway with the long spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Keep pulling the shoulder heads away as you shift the weight into your toes. Exhale, fold back over the legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rises you back up into the sky. Exhale, hands come into the chest, Samasthiti. Very good. So let's take a nice big wide step out to the right, taking this beautiful real estate of a mat we have. Dropping the heels back so we are at a pigeon pose. Hands come onto the hips. Lift the sternum, lift the chest. Turn the right and the left corners up in the mouth. Up. Smile. And then when you're ready, exhale, fold over your legs for Prasarita Padottanasana A. Hands come down on towards the mat, stacking your wrists directly underneath the shoulders. Everybody at the same time, let's shift our weight forward so we find the adductor stretch that we're looking for. You might feel it in your hamstrings as well. If you're a fan of tripod or any kind of, you want to start practicing and moving towards that, start walking your hands back so that your hands are in line with your heels and your fingertips are in line with your toes. Continue to draw your elbows in towards each other and then lift your shoulder heads away from your ears. Continue to shift the weight forward into your toes until the crown of your head meets the mat. And breathe. We're never holding our breath in any of these poses. When you're ready, walking the hands forward underneath the shoulders. Let's rise up on an inhale. And then from this wide stance, from deep within our right hip socket, externally rotate your entire thigh, knee, shin, and foot 90 degrees out to the right. Drop this right heel at a sharp 90-degree angle. Maybe you want to hop your left foot in ever so slightly. And then draw your left hips back. And then reach your right hand forward so much that you can't reach it anymore and it just lands on your right shin. Left hand comes up into the sky. Trikonasana, triangle pose. We're trying to find that length and that extension through the sides of our waist. So continue to draw your right hip under you, and then there should be a little bit of a leaning back sensation. Continuing to breathe. When you're ready, look down at your right pinky toe. When you're ready, put a deep bend in the right knee. Put your hand 6 to 12 inches past your right pinky toe, and then lift up off of your left foot for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Your gaze can be down at the floor, and you can still have the rotation of your entire body over to the side of the wall. We don't want to dump into the right hand that's on the floor. Ooh, don't fall over. And if you fall out of the pose, that's completely fine. Make sure you laugh. We're allowed to have fun. That's why it's called a practice. When we're ready, how gracefully can we come back into our Trikonasana triangle. Rising up, drawing the feet back in, and then how deep, let's do it on the other side. From within the hip socket, let's externally rotate the entire left thigh, knee, shin, and foot over to the left. Drawing that right foot at a 90-degree angle so it's a sharp heel to heel alignment. Draw your hips back and then reach forward with your left hand so much that it comes onto your left shin. Every side's different, so you're gonna have one side that's a little bit more open than the other. On this side, I love my blocks. So I'm placing my block on the outside of my left ankle, drawing the left hip underneath me, and then spinning my chest and my body up towards the sky. Forehead is pulling away from the midline, looking up at the corner of the ceiling. Maybe the right hand comes onto the hip as you look down at the left pinky toe. Take your block if you have it with you. Put a bend in your left knee and then rise up off of the right foot. Opening up for Ardha Chandrasana. Half moon. Just feel really nice on your lower back. How gracefully can we move back into our triangle pose, Trikonasana? If the walls were gonna, close me in on the sides, I should be able to find that length of the sides of the waist and sides of my body. With the inhale, rise up into the sky, heel toe those feet back out again. So you have about 4 feet of distance. Hands come onto the hips. Raise the chest up, raise the sternum up, and then exhale, fold over your legs. We're gonna come into Prasarita Padottanasana D. So interlace the hands on your lower back, and then everybody at the same time shift forward into the toes. If the crown of the head reaches the mat easily, heel toe your feet together so you find this nice adductor stretch. With the inhale, rise the hands off of the lower back. If the clasp of the hands is like this, that just means that our shoulders are tight today. As you shift the weight forward into the toes, maybe we just put a bend in the elbows and then lift the hands up off the waist. And one more breath here. With the inhale, hands come onto the hips and rise up into the sky. High. And then let's step to the top of the mat. If you have your belt and you know you need it for the Utthita Hastasa Padangusthasana series, go ahead and grab it now. This is where we're going to extend one hand to one foot. So with the inhale, draw your right knee up into your chest. Continue to draw that right hip down into the mat. Have the left leg so straight so that thigh is moving straight back behind you. If you like, interlace your hands around your knee, or if you can, interlace your hands around your big toe. The left hand extends straight up into the sky with the inhale, and as you exhale, extend your right leg any amount. If you need a bend in your knee, go ahead and keep it there. And breathe. When we're ready, allow the left hand to open up to the side and then open up your right leg like a little hinge door. As you can see, I started to compromise my stand by leaning back and kind of skiing. I don't want to do that. I want to lift up and rise up. So strong Tadasana leg. One more breath here. And then left hand comes onto the right knee. Right hand comes directly behind us. Continue to grow tall. So we don't want to lean back and compromise any part of this pose. With the inhale, rise the hands up into the sky. Keep that right leg lifted and extend it straight out in front of you for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it down towards the back. I have this strap here and I didn't even use it. So if you're ready, allow the left knee to come into the chest and choosing any variation that you chose on the right side. But again, we're not leaning back, so we're not skiing, but we're growing tall to the crown of the head. drawing the tailbone down towards the mat, finding that extension and length of the sides of the waist. Maybe the right hand floats up, straight up into the sky. And then when you're ready, allow that left thigh to open up to the left. Right hand comes out to the side. One more breath here on your own. Keeping your eyes on your drishti so that you have that one point that never moves. When you're ready, the right hand comes onto the left knee. Left hand comes straight behind us. Growing tall still. With an inhale, you find length. With an exhale, you deepen your twist. Inhale brings you back up into center. Both hands come up into the sky. And then exhale, keep that leg lifted up into the sky for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left foot comes down towards the mat. Hands come into the chest. Samasthiti. You guys are doing fantastic. Let's just stick with it a little bit more. Sinking our hips down into the heels for Utkatasana chair. Rising the hands up next towards the ears. If your shoulders are tight today, they might be forward in front of the ears. And then allow the hands to come into prayer in the chest. Thumbs come into the sternum to rise up. With an exhale, left elbow comes onto the right thigh for Utkatasana prayer twist. Let's take a peek down at our knees. If that left knee is jetting forward, pull the left hip back. Draw your forehead away from the midline. The belly and the chest are turning up towards the sky. Continuing to breathe in your Utkatasana chair twist. Inhale rises you up and towards the center. Exhale, twist over to the left. Maybe we look down at the knees, pulling that right hip back. With an inhale, rise back up into center. Exhale, straighten out the legs, hands come into the chest, Samasthiti. Very good. With the inhale, hands float up and above your head. Exhale, hinge over your thighs, Uttanasana. Inhale, shift forward, look straight down, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hop, step, or jump back, moving through your vinyasa, meeting us in downward facing dog. The right foot steps up to the right thumb. Draw the right hip back and rise up into Anjaneyasana, crescent pose. There can be a micro bend in your left knee if you need to, but we do eventually want to start to straighten that out. As you draw your left hip back, pull the back of the ribs up off of the waist. Grow tall through the sides. And then lean over, so hover over your right thigh, hands come into the chest, and then exhale, left elbow comes onto the right thigh for Anjaneyasana twist. Everybody draw that right hip back, and then if you need to, go ahead and drop that left knee on towards the mat, and then draw that left thigh back straight towards the wall behind you. Wherever you are, whichever variation you chose, breathe. When you're ready, both hands come down towards the mat. Step the right foot back, pull your hips up and back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Left foot steps up to the left hand. Rising up through Anjaneyasana, crescent pose. hovering over your left thigh. Hands come into the chest, twisting over towards the left. Anjaneyasana, prayer twist. Hands come down towards the mat. How quietly can we pick up the left foot and step it back into Adho Mukha Svanasana? Downward facing dog. Let's shift our weight forward. Everybody's come over to let's set up for Vashisthasana, side plank. So switch over to the right blade of your right foot, lifting your left hand up into the sky. Open up through the chest by drawing the right hand that's on the mat without actually moving it in space. Draw it externally open. If you need to stagger your feet, go ahead and do that. If you would like to drop your right knee down towards the mat, it's a beautiful variation as well. Wherever you are, let's have both of the hands come down towards the mat for plank pose, and then switch it over to the other side. So coming onto the left edge of your left foot, right hand comes up into the sky, Vashisthasana. Draw the frontal hip points up towards the face, and then draw the forehead away from the midline. Wherever you are, just breathe. Hands come down towards the mat. Hips come up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Put a deep bend in the knees, and then jump through your hands, or else step your feet up to your hands, sit your buttocks down onto the mat, and then extend your legs out in front of you. So coming into Navasana, if you like, put both of your feet down onto the mat, so the knees are up into the sky, and then hands come onto the knees, and then pull on your knees to lift up into the chest. So lift your chest, lift your sternum up through the arms. And when you're ready, maybe the hands come behind the knees. Don't lose that length that you just made in the chest and the sides of the waist. So don't start to arch the lower back. So if you need to pull up through the bottom of the knees, pull the chest and the sternum up through the arms. And then maybe the hands come down on the mat. Keep lifting up to the sides of the waist and the sternum. Maybe the knees lift up, but instead of leaning all the way back, let's see if we can balance at the tip of the sacrum by lifting the sternum up. And then extend the legs out straight in front of you as you lower your back down towards the mat. Ardha Navasana. Draw the belly button in towards the mat. And then exhale, rise up for Ardha Navasana. Boat pose. Inhale, lower down for Ardha Navasana. Exhale, rise up. You guys get the point. So let's move through a couple of these Navasana, Ardha Navasanas. I share with you guys that when we kind of get to this point of our practice, we're wanting to exhaust the core muscles that we haven't used already. Okay. Allow the feet to come onto the mat, and then rest your back onto the mat. Draw the ankles directly underneath the knees. Have the feet at hip distance apart. Plant the hands onto the mat, and then anchor into your heels, and then anchor into your hands. Pushing down into the hands and the feet so much that your hips and your spine lift up off of the ground. Setubandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. And let's just breathe here for a second. Draw the frontal hip points up. And then when you're ready, lower down as slowly as you can, articulating your vertebrae on the mat. One vertebrae at a time. Okay, so if you need to adjust your feet, making sure that the ankles are underneath the hips, that they're hip distance apart, pushing down into the hands and the feet so much that the hips and the spine lift up. If you can, interlace your hands in your lower back by rolling your left and then your right shoulder underneath. Without actually moving your feet in space, try to scrub your heels onto the mat so that they move towards your shoulders. This is going to really activate the hamstrings. Again, try to draw up through the frontal hip points, spreading across the chest and the collarbones here. When you're ready, let go of the interlacing on your hands, lower down on your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Almost as if they were like something hot onto the mat and you didn't want to go down really fast. So for the last time, if you have a block and you like a restorative, which is my favorite, lift your hips up and then slide the block underneath your sacrum and then rest on that. If you're rising up into your third bridge pose and you want to come into full Urdhva Dhanurasana, which is wheel pose, go ahead and choose that now. But let's rise up into this third bridge. Breathing here, trying to loosen the flesh of the gluteus maximus by trying to draw the feet back towards the shoulders without actually doing it. And then when you're ready to come down onto your third time, maybe this time you leave your hands interlaced and you lower down onto the tops of your wrists, giving yourself a micro wrist massage. Feel really nice here. And then when you're ready, allow the interlacing to let go, drawing the hips down all the way onto the mat. Let's pick the right foot up off of the floor and then cross it over our left knee. Flex the foot, the right foot, and then place your hands on the top of your thighs and then gently push the top of your thighs away from you. This should feel a nice release in your lower back. There shouldn't be any type of pain or tension here. There is, just back off. If you're like, I'm not feeling anything, draw your left knee in towards your chest and interlace. So put your hands through the little hole, interlace around the shin, thread the needle on the right side. If you're still not feeling anything in your right hip, shift your weight over to the left ever so slightly. Take your right elbow and place it on your right knee and push it away from you. Continue to flex that right foot. And breathe. You should feel how your heart rate has completely come down and lowered. Your body's starting to cool down. Your mind's probably wandering just a little bit more. Let go of whatever you're holding on to with an exhale. Both of the feet come back down towards the mat. And then when you're ready with the inhale, the left foot comes up and then crosses over the right knee. Remember, one side is going to always be tighter than the other, so when you inhale, interlace your hands either around your shin or behind your knee. If you have to lift up in order to do this and it kind of has you crunched, let go of whatever you're holding on to and then interlace the behind the knee. Whichever variation you chose, remember to flex the left foot. The right foot doesn't need to be flexed. It can just be there. As you breathe, maybe you can feel how your back of the ribs expand across the mat. When you're ready, let go of the pose, let go of whatever you're holding on to. Allow the knees to come into the chest, and then rock and roll your body up the length of your spine so that you come into a seated position. Extend the legs straight out in front of you, and then allow the hands to flow up and above your head. Pick the back of the ribs up off the waist to grow tall through the sides of the body, and then hinge over your thighs, Paschimottanasana. This should feel really good on your lower back. There's no need to have to hold on to anything and pull. Just relax into this pose. With an inhale, rise up halfway with a long spine. Exhale, let go of whatever you're holding on to and roll onto your back for Shavasana. We made it, you guys. This is the best part. This is the part that we really need to master. Out of all the poses that we've done today, this is the most important pose. Let's take a nice deep breath in through our nose together. Open mouth side, exhale, let it go. Allowing the feet to just display open externally and naturally. Allowing the palms to rest onto the floor with them resting up into the sky. Taking these last couple of moments to yourself. But if you feel yourself moving away from your breath, recognize maybe the sensation in the leg or the thoughts that you're having about the plan for dinner, or the monkey mind starts to come in with the grocery list. Just recognize it's moved away from your breath and continue to focus onto your breath. So take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Feel how the lungs expand across the back, on towards the mat. And then as you exhale, let it go. Continuing to do that for these last couple of moments here on your own. Taking note of any thoughts that may be coming across the mind right now. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, inviting some movement back into the body. Allowing the knees to come in towards the chest. And rolling up to a seated position, any way that you want to come there. And let's come into a nice seated position and do some breath work. So allow the left hand to rest on your left knee with the palm facing up. Bend your pointer finger and your middle finger so that you have a thumb and a ring finger with a pinky extension. Allow the thumb and the ring finger to come up towards your nose. And let's take a nice deep breath in. Put your thumb on your right nostril. Plug your right nostril with a small pressure, and then exhale the air out of your left nostril. Close your left nostril with your ring finger and take a nice deep breath in through your right nostril. Close off your right nostril with your right thumb. Open up your left nostril and exhale. Close off your left nostril with your ring finger. Take a nice deep breath in through your right nostril. Exhaling through the left nostril. Closing off the left nostril. Opening up the right nostril and taking a deep breath in. Close the right nostril with the right thumb. Open up the left nostril and exhale. Close off the left nostril with the ring finger. Open up the right nostril and inhale. Close off the right nostril with the thumb. Open up the left nostril and exhale. As you inhale through the right nostril, maybe sit up a little bit taller. As you close off the right nostril to exhale through the left nostril, letting go of whatever you were holding on to. Closing off the left nostril to take a nice fresh breath in through the right nostril. Closing off the right to let go of the left nostril and letting go of whatever you were holding on to. Taking a cleansing breath in through the right nostril. Letting go of the left nostril and letting go of the breath. Allowing the left hand to come down onto the right knee. Allow the chin to drop down and towards the chest. Maybe the right corner of the mouth turns up towards the right ear. Maybe the left corner turns up towards the left ear. As we rise our chin up into the sky, hands come into the chest. The highest light in me sees and honors the highest light in all of you. Ahehe.